Okay, wait, what did you want to talk to me about?
So I got a message
Uh-huh.
yesterday saying, "Were you abusive? I was in your marriage." I was like, "What?" And this person was like, "Yeah, well, Laura said so on the video." And I didn't even watch it, to be honest. But you said it?
Well, I said that I think I was talking about the episode that we released
Yeah,
around your
right.
relapse, and I had said thank you for all the comments, and it was very validating having so many women with similar stories
Right.
comment. And yeah, I think at that point I had said something like of around being uh in an abusive relationship.
Right, that's what she
Yeah,
said.
but I can't remember like the
But
sentence exactly.
but
But like
but that's 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 shocking to hear because
yeah.
in what way?
Well, I would say that it is a harsh word, I know,
Yeah.
but it
That to me, that means
yeah.
obviously something very different to what you think.
Well, like there's like narcissistic abuse.
Right, what's that?
I can read you the actual
Well,
definition.
autism very often presents as narcissism,
But
which is what worries me for our future.
yeah, because you actually came out saying that you believe you were a
Yeah,
narcissist.
I believe I've got traits, definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's emotional abuse. That's
But how did I do that?
okay, guys, single mom here, and I'm struggling to find time to go to the grocery store. Like, I want to feel good between keeping the kids alive, working, and just functioning like a semi human adult. But I don't have the time to plan meals, hit the store, and cook every night. I'm also so sick of all the food that I've been making. And that's why Hungry Root has been a total lifesaver. It's like having your own personal shopper and nutritionist rolled into one. Hungry Root fills your cart each week with groceries and recipes that are tailored to your taste, your health goals, and what you actually want to eat, whether you're dairy free, gluten free, anti inflammatory, high protein. Republican, liberal, it doesn't matter. And it's not just dinner. They've got smoothies, snacks, ready to eat options, supplements, even kids' snacks, which is a godsend when you're trying to feed a hangry child in 5 seconds flat. There's no junk in any of their food, no high fructose corn syrup, no artificial sweeteners, no weird preservatives, just real whole ingredients and responsibly sourced meats and seafood. They even offer 15,000 recipe combinations so you can never get bored. You're going to love Hungryroot as much as I do. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. Go to hungryroot.com/idiot and use code idiot. That's hungryroot.com/idiot, code idiot to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/idiot, code idiot. Again, you guys, I know you're gonna love it as much as me. I've been cooking with it because I actually can. I literally choose the 5 to 10 minute option. I just have this amazing romaine salad with tofu and avocado, this incredible chickpea hummus avocado wrap, these stir fries, just so much stuff that I would never normally think of. So it's just exciting and fun and easy to cook. And I'm cooking with my daughter and it's affordable. So again, hungryroot.com/idiot, code idiot. Don't be an idiot and go to Hungry Root and enjoy your life. Okay, bye.
I don't think that's kind of nuts to me, although that's probably bad to say as well.
What's nuts to you?
The fact that you feel like emotional abuse happened,
Well, yeah, I would say like,
that's just so
what do you
crazy
call
to
it?
me.
The silent treatment.
That's
Yeah,
abuse.
that's emotional
So
abuse.
if I have to process something, that's abuse.
Well, no, you intentionally would ignore me for sometimes
Yeah, because I
days,
had to.
but it was like a punishing thing. And you wouldn't say, hey, Laura, I need time to process. You just would.
I did say
disappear. No, you wouldn't say that. That's just one thing. Name calling, that's
yeah.
another.
What other names did I call you?
Bitch,
I
things
never.
where
Well,
we
I
would
mean,
fight. Yeah.
I mean, I can count one time that I said that.
Okay.
Okay, and you
Also,
said names to me.
infidelity, that's also a form.
Right.
Gaslighting, I would say, come to you with a concern of something that happened and you would deny it. These
Right.
are all forms of emotional abuse. Gaslighting,
I'll admit
stonewalling,
to the infidelity one. I won't cop to the, and that was just one
emotion.
that was one time in 2014. Like people think it was recent, but that
Mhm.
taking time to be on your own and not wanting to talk to someone is
But
not abuse.
but that's so different. If you were just like, "Hey, I need time," but it was never like that. It was just you would shut down and not talk to me or not say like,
How is
"Hey,
that
I need
abuse?
time."
That's me not
Because you're
talking.
ignoring, you're treating someone like they don't exist. It's possibly one of the most painful things. I would have almost rather you screamed at me than ignored me.
But yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I didn't even shout.
Right.
I wasn't even a shouting person. I definitely
It's
didn't
even
rage
worse
or
than that.
anything like that.
It's even worse than that.
But
I
to
mean,
me, it's like it's this TikTok world of like everyone's a victim and everyone is like it isn't that like diminishing to someone who literally is being hit or shouted at to say that,
no,
oh, you didn't talk, so
that's
this
just
is just as bad.
that's physical abuse. That's physical abuse. But there's psychological abuse, there's emotional abuse. So the silent treatment is when a person refuses to communicate with someone because they're angry or
I definitely
upset.
did that, but I
It
did
can
it to
sometimes
not shout.
It can sometimes be a form of emotional abuse. The silent treatment may be abusive if one person uses it to control or manipulate the other. For example, a person may use the silent treatment to withhold love or affection until a person does what they want.
Well, I wasn't doing it to get you to do what I wanted, so that there you go. It wasn't abuse because I wasn't doing it for that reason.
Well, you were certainly withholding love and affection.
Because I was upset, but not to get
Right.
something.
But you were causing me pain. And you know what? You did get something because
What?
then I would do whatever I had to do to make you happy so I wouldn't have to
But that's
experience
on
that pain
you.
again.
That's not me demanding it. That's you doing
But
it
it's
from your own.
manipulative.
No, because I'm not making it happen.
You are, by
How?
withholding love and affection from me
But I'm
that I
doing
so
that because I'm
desperately
upset.
wanted. Okay. I mean, I'm willing to go, okay, you needed time to process, but you never gave me that, like, hey, Laura, I love
Are
you,
you
but
sure I
I
never
need
said that?
time. I need to, no,
Oh,
no. So it felt very punishing. It felt like you were using it to get revenge or to exert control or power over me. That's how it felt. But it's possible that it was just a fully avoidant thing and
because that
I
was the
know it
main
was
thing that
learned.
I did.
Yeah. Well, that was one. Okay, so emotional abuse includes non-physical behaviors that are meant to control, isolate, or frighten you. This may
Never isolate,
present
never control. I never isolated you from
control,
anyone.
yes,
I
isolate,
used to
no.
encourage you to go
I
and see people.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't think it was that's why like abusive relationships, it's so tricky because
It's tricky.
it's
It's
so
tricky if you aren't in one. Just
it's so gray because it's not like all the time. Like we had a lot of amazing times, but then there were times where I did feel, yeah, like,
I mean, it's just there's such a difference to what I think that an abusive relationship is, which is where someone is violent to someone else,
yeah, it's,
or even shouting is probably to me is abusive. But
yeah,
I didn't even shout.
rarely, no,
Rarely.
rarely, rarely. No, that was not
No, I
your way.
just
But then you also like say that you like literally made a video saying that you're a
no, no,
sociopath.
yeah, but no, I didn't say I was. I didn't say I was.
What did you
I read an
say?
article, and the article, judging by the article, I ticked all the boxes.
For a
Judging from the
sociopath.
yeah, but it was an isolated article, and that video starts with me saying, "I just read an article, and this is what the article was," and I was just being honest. I did actually tick a lot of the the boxes.
So if you're admitting that you have potential
But that was
sociopathic
just a clickbait
tendencies,
article. Sociopath is a psychopath.
so now you don't think you are one,
No, I don't
but you
think I'm
did.
that. I don't think I'm that.
What about a narcissist?
I certainly have been called it a lot. So maybe. Even like last week.
Why last week?
That's a good point. Why? Someone just said, has anyone ever said that you've got narcissistic, that you're a narcissist? And I was like, yes.
That's a yes. Narcissistic abuse is a form of emotional abuse where an individual with narcissistic personality traits or disorder manipulates, exploits, and emotionally mistreats another person, often using tactics like gaslighting, love bombing, and devaluation to fulfill their own needs and maintain control, leaving the victim feeling confused, isolated, and doubting their own reality.
Okay, so if I'm honest, I have definitely done the love bombing. I've definitely left people confused. What's the other one? I've definitely done
Doubting
that.
their own
Yeah, I've
reality.
definitely done that.
Okay. It's considered a type of trauma due to sustained psychological manipulation involved. Due to the sustained psychological manipulation involved. So the key points about narcissistic abuse are lack of empathy.
Right.
So narcissists often lack empathy and prioritize their own needs above others.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Manipulation tactics. They use various they use various manipulative strategies like gaslighting, making the victim doubt their own sanity.
Well,
I mean, yeah.
no, I have. Yeah, I have. I've heard all that.
Okay. Love bombing.
Definitely heard that.
Yeah. Intense initial affection to gain
Yeah,
control.
I definitely do that. But is it to gain control?
Well, maybe
or
not
is
consciously.
Yeah, I definitely do that. I definitely do that, and it's to get self-worth. Because
Yeah.
to me, a narcissist is someone that thinks they're brilliant, and I definitely think the opposite of that most of the time.
Well, that's covert narcissism or vulnerable narcissism. And I believe that's probably what you have. Because you're not, hey, look at me.
No,
You're
the
not,
opposite.
that's a grandiose narcissist. You're not that. Yours is more vulnerable.
I didn't know there was a different sort.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but when was that invented?
TikTok. No, I'm just kidding. And devaluation. Okay. Devaluation, criticizing and belittling the victim.
I definitely don't. I definitely. Now I'm thinking about like my recent past now.
Yeah.
I don't think I do that. I think I do the opposite.
You would do that
big
with
people up.
me. Absolutely. Like if something, I remember like if a video wouldn't perform the way you wanted or something, like you would heavily criticize it. We should be doing more. We should be doing more. And you would show me people who were
I've been
doing,
accused of that again
yeah.
recently.
And you would show me people who were doing it better, doing it better, doing it better. And I was just like, gotta make them happy. Gotta make them happy. You know, I was like totally drank your Kool-Aid. And I think, I feel like I made you my higher power on and off through our relationship. And so if you weren't happy with me or my performance, or if I wasn't earning enough money or making things viral enough, like I felt like you would withhold love from me. And maybe it was conscious or maybe it wasn't. Maybe you were just so attached to the external success that if we didn't get it, it was like you didn't feel worthy or something, and you would maybe take it out on me a little bit. Like you would show me my Google trends and, you know, things like that.
I've been accused of that. That same thing has been said about me recently.
Yeah.
But that's not even in a relationship situation.
Was that like
But
a work
do that,
situation?
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's cool to be aware, you know?
Yeah.
There's because I think too, narcissism or narcissistic personality disorder is a spectrum, just like autism. So everyone has narcissistic traits. I have narcissistic traits. Everybody does. But I think when you have a certain amount, then it becomes a disorder. I don't know how many
There's no
characteristics you
treatment
have to
for it though,
have.
anyway, is there?
I think, yeah, I think it's like therapy. Like there's a narcissist who makes content about what it's like being a narcissist. He's in a marriage, they almost divorced, but now he just does therapy and he owns up to it and he learns how to practice empathy. Empathy is a practice for him. It's not intuitive, it's a practice.
I mean, but I
So,
have a lot of empathy with the kids.
yeah, they're,
Best,
yes,
but
they're
yeah.
an extension of you, though.
Mm.
But that's amazing that
Yeah.
you have that, and you do. You
Yeah.
love them so
Yeah.
much, and so
I do struggle with that, but I always put it down to being an only child.
that could, yeah, that could absolutely.
But I've met other only children and they don't have that.
Okay, so that's the manipulation tactics. Then there's control and power dynamics. So the goal is to control the victim's emotional and behavior to serve the narcissist's needs.
That's a grey area because we were working together and I feel like it was very successful.
Yeah.
So
Right, exactly.
you certainly seemed happy when you didn't seem unhappy.
But that's the thing, I was.
Right.
That's the head fuck of it all. That's why it's like
Yeah.
a lot of the times I was. And then it would get dark and then like it was great. It
Yeah.
was like that's the head fuck of an abusive relationship is like it's not black and white.
Yeah.
And the good outweighed the bad, I think, for a long time.
Right.
So you go,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
you go, okay, the good's outweighing the bad here. So
Yeah. It like remarkably outweighed the bad.
yeah. And then
'Cause-
it all kind of came crashing down a bit. And
And
then
then you have
suddenly,
everyone saying relationship goals, you guys have the perfect relationship all the time.
because I think we're at one point we probably were.
Yeah, but I was doing that stuff at that time as well.
Yeah. I actually think your relapse is the thing because that like, you know,
Yeah.
that maybe
Yeah.
took it to the point of no return.
Yeah.
That, where
Yeah.
because you weren't yourself anymore. You
Yeah.
lost touch with your light,
Yeah. But-
with that
Yeah. No, I didn't
your
expect
connection
this
to God or
conversation to go this way because I'm thinking maybe I do said that, but you can't do anything about it though.
well, that's not true. That is not true. Okay, impact on the victim. Victims of narcissistic abuse may experience low self-esteem, anxiety, depression, and difficulty trusting others. I mean,
You don't have that.
oh,
You don't. You're the most trusting person ever.
the most what?
Trusting.
You have no idea. No, I'm not.
Really?
If you have a penis, I do not trust you at this point. Even my boyfriend is like, oh, you hate men. Got it. I don't hate men. I just don't trust them.
But you didn't trust them when we first got together. You didn't trust. You did the same.
No. When we first got together, I was 24 and I absolutely trusted you.
Me, yeah, but not men in general. Like with
No,
this,
I had no.
the dude you're with now, like you trust him.
No,
Oh.
not entirely. Not entirely. I don't think I ever will entirely ever.
Right.
You know?
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
It's
about it.
unfortunate. It's sad. I'm sure maybe I could get over that with it's a decision, right? I could practice trusting. Like my therapist says, unless they give you a reason not to trust, give them the benefit of the doubt until they give you a reason not to trust. That's what he's trying to teach me to do.
Right.
Whereas my thing goes like, oh, you didn't call when you said, well, and then I create a story or like,
Right.
I want to play detective or
Yeah.
I just will assume you're lying to me rather than just assume you're telling me the truth.
Right.
I'm working on it. I
Right.
am understanding it's my own stuff, but unfortunately, that's just where I am.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think our parents probably have a lot to do with it. Not blaming you guys, but it's just, yeah,
Well,
unfortunately.
your mum hates men.
She didn't
You
always.
said that, not me. Or you probably want to cut this out. It doesn't
No, I
matter.
don't care.
But
She
you told me
doesn't.
she hates. You
I
literally
didn't say
said
she
that.
hates
You
you.
did. No, not me. Man, you said.
Oh,
she hates
men.
men.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's pretty. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of that. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of women who are just over it. They've just been hurt one too many times, and they're just like,
Is that been always? That's always been the case, though, I think.
I don't know why I feel like it's more now. Maybe it's because women are more liberated
Oh,
now.
they can talk about it.
We can
It's on
talk about
TikTok.
it.
Yeah.
We can also we're not as dependent on you. There was a point not too long ago where we couldn't open our own bank accounts.
Yeah.
And so now I think women just feel liberated and able to talk about their experiences, and they've been hurt. Did you hear about that French man? Did you
Coincidentally,
hear about that French man?
what happened?
I mean, this is obviously a very extreme, horrific case and of predatory male behavior. This is insane. You didn't hear about that? Old French dude married a woman for 50 years. He would make her baked potato and a nice little drink every single night. That
Oh, no.
drink had a fucking drug in it that would make her completely pass out. He invited over 200 men over to sleep with his wife, and he would film it all. These were men in the neighborhood. These were the guy at the post office, the lawyer, the neighbor, the next door neighbor. Over 200 men would come in the house while she was asleep. She would wake up the next day, have no memory, but she would start having pains and weird things and be like, huh. And then she'd go to the doctor and they'd be like, oh yeah, you have a little like infection or, whatever.
Right.
He drugged her and had over 200 men. I mean, I know that's the most disturbing story in the
Well, the
entire
thing
world.
is,
And that's
here's the
very
thing, though.
extreme, but it's like,
You're devaluing that's domestic
that's,
abuse. That
but
is a bit but is not everyone saying I'm in an abusive relationship devaluing that poor woman?
no, I think because I think there's levels to it. Like there's emotional abuse. That's fucked. That is so extreme. That is like the worst thing ever,
Yeah.
right? And
But I feel like that's minimizing real, genuine. It's like I have a problem with PTSD as well, a little bit, because trauma is means a really bad thing.
yeah.
And people like I've met a lot of Gen Z who all have PTSD, all of them, for no specific reason. I met
Because
someone
like
who
a
was like,
teacher was mean to them in
no,
class.
I met someone who said I've got PTSD from something, but I'm not sure if that happened.
Oh,
Seriously?
well, okay, but in their defense, your brain can wipe traumatic things as a protection mechanism
yeah,
when you're a kid, because you can't
that's true.
you can't run away from a dangerous situation, so your brain wipes it. But then it keeps haunting you and then a lot of times that memory comes back of
But
the
what about like
abuse.
my friend Elias that used to work with me, who
Mhm.
saw his friend blown up in front of him?
Yeah,
He's got
that's
PTSD.
yeah, right.
Is that not devaluing that to say that
Why
something
does
you're not
one have
sure?
to devalue the other? Like it's not a competition, so
It's
they
not a
can both be
competition, but
treated
if there's
appropriately.
resources available, it's like the thing here, everyone says they're autistic. I guess so many people say their kids are autistic and they're clearly not, because there are kids who need their services. And if you're going to say that your kid is on the spectrum because she won't get to school on time, which is, maybe I've said it on the podcast before, I had a huge argument with someone about that because they're taking,
Wait, was that the time you went to the place in Venice and she threw a drink at your face?
no,
Oh,
no, I didn't know about
remember
that.
that one?
No, I do, but how do you know about that?
You told me.
Did I? Oh, okay.
I'd die.
I have a slapped in a restaurant once for people. Slapped across the face. Literally slapped across the face. And it was like a film. Everyone looked. It like went silent. It was the craziest things that happened in a really big a Chinese restaurant in Amsterdam, London. Middle of Saturday
But you
night.
had it coming, right?
Yeah, I just
Right.
didn't know that. But
Because you were with the other woman.
yeah.
Right.
But it was like I didn't
How's
know
your
how
ex,
to act.
by the way?
What do you mean?
That just made me think of her. But like,
Oh, my ex-wife.
wife, yeah.
She's all right,
She's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, she's
She
the one
has,
that slapped me.
yeah, I know.
Oh, you know about
I
her?
feel like I'd probably get along with her.
Yeah, you probably
I
would.
probably would.
Yeah, you
Is she
probably would.
still in? I don't want to say where,
Yeah,
but yeah, that's
yeah.
great.
They got kids. They got three kids.
Yeah.
He's a
3
producer.
now.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Jesus.
He produced some big bands, actually.
Okay. Covert narcissist has an exaggerated sense of self-importance, but appears humbled or introverted.
See, that's not me.
Right.
Because it's genuine.
Yeah, they may be manipulative, deceptive, and controlling. Signs of covert narcissist, hypersensitivity to criticism. Oh, I have that. Maybe I'm a covert narcissist. I am so hypersensitive to criticism.
I don't care.
Although weirdly with you, when you tell me something shit that I've done, weirdly it doesn't affect me. But certain people, honestly, it's my partner. If my partner ever tells me they don't like something I did, it like feels like a knife to the heart.
Well, probably I think that comes from working together, though, because we would have to say something was bad to each other.
Yeah. Okay, manipulation, lack of empathy, exploitative behavior, resistance to change, but that's also autism. I don't know, whatever. You can look into it. There's just like different like covert narcissism is not the grandiose. It's more
But you're saying there that it's
that's what
fake
that's what that
introversion
says.
and fake.
Yeah, and
That's
that's
not. No, it's not fake.
no. Um
Huh.
anyway, but where were we? We sort of trailed off. Oh, so you were saying like is claiming PTSD or abuse, is that taking resources away? I mean, do you think me going to a therapist to try to heal from any sort of potential narcissistic abuse, is that taking that therapist away from a client who needs him more? I mean, he's not
I don't
filled
think
up.
that in that. No, I don't think that because it's you're paying for a therapist. That's different. But if there's a finite pool of resources for something,
Like, you think maybe there's an overdiagnosis of autism now, and
massively.
there's only a certain amount of like IEP.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah.
Well, that's a whole other subject, is what to do with our son. I mean, after having Torin and his mom, Torin, you guys, is
I
Torin
can't
and
wait
his
to
mom,
see that.
Serenity, are Torin is an autistic 17-year-old, and he makes content with his mom. You guys will see this
I love
episode
him. I love
soon,
his
and
stuff.
he's brilliant. They're so incredible. But they were talking all about his school journey and how I just said, what was it like? And he was like, hell. It was hell.
Oh.
Yeah, just hell. And then it was like when he started homeschooling, everything changed, and he just is his own best teacher, and knows so much about so much.
Can I say something?
Mhm.
You know what? Just realized when you said that, the feeling that I got towards him, and there's the feeling I got when I was working with those special needs kids at that work, the charity that
Yeah.
does I get a huge amount of like, I struggle with empathy, just I do. But Torren and those boys at the thing, like overwhelming amount.
Really?
Yeah, really, really intense.
Whoa.
And I was like, when I went to the thing with my friend and his brother who does this, and I was helping this boy who had cerebral palsy do yoga,
Yeah.
and I was like, the concept of it would be like, oh, well, that's going to be so weird. And I
Yeah.
did think that, and it's a terrible thing. But the minute I started doing it, I just loved this kid. It just was, I didn't want to not be, I wanted to sit with him
Yeah.
and talk to him. And I don't get that with people ever. So for
Why do
some
you
reason,
think that is?
I don't know.
Is it because you're on the spectrum?
Well, that's what I thought originally, yeah, because they're all autistic, but some of them have coexisting conditions. So they are all autistic. So yeah, I think it is that.
Wow.
Because I totally got all of them. I totally understood. I felt
Wow.
like massive empathy for them, but it wasn't. I feel like some people were pitying them. Some people in the room were
Or like,
a little.
what's
bit,
it called?
Yeah,
Infantilizing them?
maybe a
Like,
little
oh,
bit.
you're like a child.
Yeah,
Treating them like a child because
yeah,
they're not
not my friend, but
speaking.
yeah. So, but I have seen that.
Maybe you dive into that more. Things that
Yeah, no, I
actually
love
speak
doing
to
that. I
you.
love doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Well, a bit confused, but I'll work
Why?
it out because I wasn't expecting to feel like this. I've kind of more like, oh, maybe I was that way. I don't know. I have to think about it. I have to take it all in.
Okay.
Hmm.
I know it's a crazy or it's a strong word. But that
Yeah,
being
because
said, I feel like probably even people who are not abusers have displayed abusive behavior
yeah,
too,
yeah,
because out of fear. They act from fear. And so they scream or they get super jealous or they
yeah,
manipulate or something. Those are all,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, and that.
forms of emotional abuse. It doesn't mean you should be locked up.
But they're also like the only group of people that like the because mental illness is kind of applauded and like um everyone's got like these mental illnesses, but
Sure.
that's the one group that you can't. They're just evil, and
Yeah.
everything is anti those people, and it's fine to sort of just slag them off completely. But if
Yeah.
you have got it, why do you not deserve compassion?
No, I actually agree with you
Oh,
there,
yeah.
especially because you develop narcissism from neglect as a child. You didn't get so often.
Is that why it comes from?
Yes, because they didn't get the love and compassion and affection that they needed, so they seek it from their supply, which is an external source, whatever that
So
supply
weird
is.
because if I think back to my childhood, like my parents' relationship now is so different to what it was like in my years where I was forming my personality.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, interesting.
And what do you remember about it then?
Well, when I did EMDR therapy around trauma, we picked three traumatic things, and one of them, the first one I did it on, was that you're supposed to pick a traumatic moment and relive it. You go back and you relive it and you relive it. And your brain, if something traumatic, like you were saying, actually, maybe that girl was right. Like, your brain does cover things up for sure.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that I didn't remember if it happened or not. I was like, oh, I'd forgotten about that. But, so it was like, it was our breakup and I had to go back to that day on the couch in the office room, you saying, go and get help or, and then everything will be, I had to go back to that, to keep going. What's behind all that? And then it got to the stonewalling because that's what I'd been doing the previous day. And then my brain literally was like, we're going back. It's stonewalling, but that's as far as you're going. And it just, no, and I had to come back out of EMDR, and then we did it the next week.
Yeah.
And my brain was like, okay, there's a little bit more, but nope, it literally would stop me going further. And we had to do
Whoa.
it 4 or 5 times. And it's a really hard, it's like that. I found it to be very, very hard
Yeah.
because you keep having to go back. But it brought me right back to a time when I was on the train with my mom and I was really upset about something and she would stonewall me, just like act like I wasn't there, but a specific time of it. Like I could see everything. It was all there. And it just was like,
Whoa.
my brain was like, this is the reason you do it. I knew. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Yeah.
Do you remember why on the train she would pretend you weren't there?
I was upset about something to do with school, but
Okay.
it was a regular thing. That's what she did
And
all
how
the
did
time.
it make you feel when she would do that?
Yeah, that's what she said. All those things kind of like n- the questioning the reality, all that stuff he said,
Yeah.
similar to that. Huh.
Whoa.
But she's definitely not got that. But she did used to do all that stuff. But she's definitely not that now.
Now, from what I know of your mom, yeah, she's so lovely
And
and
even when I was a
sweet.
teenager, all the kids used to come to my house to hang out with my mum and dad.
Yeah.
But that was after my mum was diagnosed with MS, and they totally changed.
Right.
Yeah.
I have an idea I want to pitch you.
Okay.
Okay. Buddhism.
No.
What do you mean, no?
No.
You're just,
It's so Hollywood.
hold on. You're being a contrarian. You just want to say no to say no. You're just like my dad. You know what they call that? PDA, pathological defiance or something.
Even
What
I
is
know
it?
what it is.
What is it?
Pathological,
Defiance.
no, demand
Demand
avoidance.
avoidance.
And I got in
Pathological
trouble
demand avoidance.
because I
That's
posted
you.
on TikTok,
That's
you
you.
mean laziness. But
That's you.
no, I always interpreted that as you ask someone to do something and they don't want to do it. So they
Yeah.
just say, oh, I've got
I mean,
pathological.
but that is it. It's like if someone says, let's do this, you're automatic.
Demand, yeah, but you're not demanding
pathological demand
Buddhism.
avoidance. I'm not demanding. I'm pitching it
You've been
because
saying it for a long time, though.
I know. I think it's just like I am realizing the importance of having a spiritual practice,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And how important that is for my mental health.
Mhm.
And I'm really it's just sinking in how important it is. And then the book that I'm reading, The Awakened Brain, where it's a neuroscientist who studies why having a spiritual practice is way more effective. And she worked at psych wards for decades where they were doing psychotherapy and drugs. And the patients would just come in and out and in and out and in and out and in and out. And then when they had a spiritual practice, they tended to get better. Same with our 12-step program.
I'm doing that. I'm going to be doing, I feel, because I've been on a search like this for years, and I keep coming back to my, I guess, religion of origin, being that my dad's Irish, Catholicism. I really like it. I really like the churches. I like the fact that when you think about all the stuff they did, all the great art that was made in the name of the Catholic, like, praise of God in their way, like the Sistine Chapel and all these great works of art, all done in that religion. And it just affects me a lot.
Well, that's great.
I know it's a controversial religion because of and they've obviously made a lot of mistakes, but the actual teachings something about it. Whenever I go to a Catholic church, I feel it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I mean, it really is whatever works for you. And, for me, I've been searching too. And I feel like Buddhism, I know you call it Hollywood, but it's like truly for me, it just, everything that I'm reading about it, it just feels right to me.
What
Like
about it feels right?
the principles,
Which
are gratitude, like being
Right.
practicing gratitude for.
Is that a Buddhist philosophy?
Yes.
Because you can get easily sort of mixed up between New Age and Buddhist.
Okay, practicing gratitude. And correct me if I'm wrong, but
I don't know.
But from
I'm
what I've
asking.
been reading, it is embracing impermanence.
That is definitely one, yeah.
We are not immortal.
Yeah.
To embrace that makes you again grateful for today and just embracing the ever-changing nature of life. That they're big on,
They believe in reincarnation, though, right? So then your life is actually endless.
Okay, but this form is
impermanent, but
yeah.
what about all the next ones?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot more to learn about it.
No, I'm just curious.
Also practicing non-attachment. That's another.
Yeah.
I guess would you call it a principle, or that's another component of
Right.
Buddhism is practicing non-attachment. So
Yeah.
that is like, man, for an addict,
Yeah.
that's like, wow,
Yeah. I like
when
all that.
when you get attached to a person, a drug, the career, even just me being a mom, like all of it is, they believe the root of suffering is attachment.
Yeah,
is the
but
root
the
of
Buddhists, when
suffering.
they say suffering, apparently they don't mean it in the same way. That when they said suffering, it wasn't the same meaning as suffering is now. It wasn't negative.
Oh, well, I thought it was when you were attached and kind of like seeking happiness from external things rather than from within.
Yeah.
And then another practice is practicing compassion for yourself and for others. So it's like more of a philosophy than a religion, but there's prayer, there's meditation.
Do they believe in God?
Um, okay, Buddhism, is a path to liberation from suffering through understanding the nature of reality, practicing mindfulness, and cultivating ethical behavior, ultimately aiming for enlightenment and freedom from the cycle of rebirth. So the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism are,
So you're supposed to break free of that cycle of being born again then? That's the
I
idea.
guess so, yeah. So
Huh.
I'm still learning. But this, like, when I decided I wanted to strengthen my spiritual practice, I was like, okay, maybe I need some sort of religion or some sort of,
Hmm.
right? And so, going to a Buddhist temple and meditating, while
Yeah.
monks are chanting sounds pretty awesome. I from everything I've read so far, none of it kind of freaks me out. It's not like I'm against Catholicism. I don't really know too much about it. I know, like, the idea of, like, heaven and hell, I don't know about all
See,
that.
I do. I think
Okay,
there's
well,
definitely good and evil, in my opinion, for
and
sure.
so maybe you need to be God-fearing and you need
Yeah.
to go like, "Oh, if
I
I."
like the Old Testament vibes that it is quite like dramatic and God-fearing.
Yeah,
I think that I like that.
and maybe you need that to keep you on the right path
Yeah, I mean,
because you don't wanna burn in hell for all of eternity, so
yeah,
you're not
right.
gonna be a piece of shit
Yeah,
type shit.
exactly.
Okay, cool. So the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism: suffering. Life is inherently marked by suffering, dissatisfaction, and impermanence. So the origin of suffering. Suffering arises from attachment, craving, and ignorance.
Okay.
Okay? Um, and then you have nirvana. Nirvana is suffering can be overcome by eliminating attachment and craving. That literally just sounds like getting sober and
But
having a
how do
spiritual
you
practice.
does it tell you how to do it?
Okay, well, and then the fourth noble truth is the Noble Eightfold Path, a path of right understanding, thought, speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and concentration leads to the end of suffering.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I would just have to, yeah, I'm sure there's just practices, meditation. I think they do like deep listening. Um, the Dharma is the Buddhist teachings, which are seen as a way to achieve enlightenment. So there's just teachings. There's chanting. I don't know too much, but
I've got an interesting
yeah.
story from my life about this.
Okay.
The girl I was seeing right before now, she was brought up in a very, very homeschool, almost religious cult in a way
Whoa.
in Indiana. And so
Wow.
her experience was massively limited in the
Yeah.
outside world. She wasn't allowed to do a load of things. She had like 3 people in her school,
Whoa.
and she wasn't allowed. Her parents still think that she hasn't ever had sex or a boyfriend. She's 27 or whatever. She went to the university, but like was like, I'm done. Like this is crazy, and everyone in the university was like, you can't live like that. It's so it's abusive. Like to put them in you're in a religious cult like that.
Yeah.
And she basically went the other way, completely into like atheism, and I'm not.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
an
You
abusive
rebel.
situation to be in this religious
Yeah.
dogma.
That makes
She
sense.
found that she was so unhappy, so
Yeah.
depressed and anxious when she
Yeah.
took on this more liberal lifestyle. She's
Yeah.
going back now to religion.
Yeah.
She's like, I was happier.
Totally.
Interesting, right?
There's, oh my God. I think you would love the Awakened Brain. It's all about that.
Right.
But it's
But this is
more,
Christian though. She was
yeah.
Christian, threw it away, and then is actively going back now.
Yeah. Well, the author, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be Christianity necessarily. Like for her, that's where she went. But
Yeah.
I feel like spirituality or believing in a power greater than yourself is innate. It's like within us. And to deny that does cause a lot of people a lot of
Yeah.
suffering.
Yeah.
It is,
Because
a-
there's
a-
a big atheist movement these days.
yeah.
And I think that's arrogant to think I know there isn't.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
My dad, who is scientist's brain, was atheist for my whole
My dad
childhood. And
too.
even he came around and said, I'm agnostic. I don't know. And to
My
say
dad
that you
too.
know is incredibly
Yeah.
ignorant,
Yeah.
actually, to say that you know for a fact. How can you know?
Yeah.
How can you
Yeah.
know?
It's interesting. Yeah, you don't, no one knows. It's funny when you
So
think
then,
about it.
so then religion or spirituality is a faith. You're just believing.
Yeah.
You can't know, but we are choosing to believe.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was
And
just thinking, like, where could we take the kids? It could be
it-
fun to, if you want to take them to church and see how they like that.
I've been to
we
a
can
couple of times and people have said to
No,
me,
but to
why aren't
take
you bringing your kids?
yeah, to take them, but then we should take them to a Buddhist temple and see if they like that. And I think ultimately it should be their decision
Yeah,
who
totally.
what speaks to them as they get
Yeah.
older. So we wouldn't want to push anything.
No.
But I guess that's why Buddhism felt the least like, with Catholicism, Christianity, it's very much like, this is the way, this is God. This is, the Bible is truth. And it's
And,
like, well, is it? I mean, whereas with Buddhism, there's certain practices that don't feel like,
I'm starting to think, like, from what I know about the Bible, that there was definitely a guy called Jesus, apparently. Apparently that guy existed. So
right.
there's some definite provable truths to it.
Okay.
And
I'm so ignorant around all that. I know nothing
yeah, I'm
about it.
learning. I want
Nothing
to
about it.
read. I want to read the Bible. Your sister read the Bible.
She did.
Yeah, she's read it more than once. Right?
Colleen just read the Bible.
Yeah.
She's like, I think I want to read the Bible.
But then she read
She's
it
like,
and
it's
decided that
disturbing.
she doesn't believe it, which is unusual.
Yeah,
Normally you read it and you decide you do.
No, and she thought it was incredibly disturbing too.
Really? Normally you find
Yeah.
people that read the Bible when they're like their life is falling apart and it puts them on the right track.
But again, I think that's just finding higher power. That it could be anything. It
Yeah.
could be any. I don't think it has to be Christianity. It's like
No, it could be
any
anything.
sort of spiritual practice. Even for a lot of people, the 12 steps, but then it's becoming not enough for me.
Well,
Just
you know,
the
the 12
12
steps
steps.
was based in Christianity,
Yes,
the
I
Oxford
do.
group. Yeah.
But they also say, what a God of your own understanding.
They
even
amended
they
it
do.
over time. Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's my pitch to you, but I love that you just said no right away.
Well, it just feels like
Yeah.
very sort of LA kind of.
I don't know. I'm just seeking. So,
Yeah, no, me too.
like, I'm doing this Buddhist meditation in the morning, and really you're just saying these 5 affirmations
What do you say?
over and over. So you say, I am grateful for another day. And then you ruminate on that and on gratitude. Why are you grateful? What are you grateful for?
Yeah.
So you spend time doing that. And then I embrace impermanence. And then you spend time thinking about that,
Yeah.
And then I have compassion for myself and for others.
Right.
So then you think about that and send yourself love and say, I love myself and I love these people, and sending love and compassion to others and to yourself, to be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
You're affirming, I have compassion for myself.
It is a very LA religion, though. All these words are very LA to me.
Compassion
Yeah.
is, to have
'Cause
compassion is
com-
LA.
Compassion has been weaponized.
Compassion
The
has?
word compassion has been weaponized to
Oh.
usher in a lot of weird shit.
The next one is I seek wisdom
Yeah.
every day. So
Mhm.
it's like learn something new every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
I love that,
Yeah.
especially with my brain and my family's brain. It's like seeking wisdom. That's fun and exciting.
Yeah.
And you're affirming this stuff every day. And then I feel like there was was that all 5?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just been,
No, it is interesting. I think with the compassion thing, what happened apparently was, do you remember Occupy Wall Street? Occupy
yeah.
this and Occupy that. So the left were in 2010, 11, they were all like against the banks and against the financial institutions.
Mhm.
And the banks and financial institutions didn't like the fact. They didn't want that. They were like, "What? We don't want this. We don't want people occupying outside. Can't you distract them from something?" And then in 2012, the concept of racism and the concept of transphobia went through the roof. It wasn't even looked at before, like Google Trends. Nothing. Bang, 2012. It's talked about everywhere. Racism, compassion, all these concepts all happened around 2012, which is when Occupy was going on.
Right.
So there's a theory that it was like trying to deflect attention away.
A distraction.
They're like, the left are activists. Give them something to fight about, not us. They can't be looking at us.
Whoa.
What about racism? And they're like, they stoked it deliberately.
Right.
I feel like that's true. I feel like
But racism is a legitimate.
It's not really any. I mean, I feel like it's definitely been stoked by the media. It's not. I mean, I'd never met a racist person in my everyday life.
Compassion, concern for the suffering or misfortunes of
It's a great
others.
concept, but I feel like it's got other connotations now.
Or like it's been weaponized.
I feel like that. Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Poppy, should I bring her in? Poppy, come here. Come here.
Oh, man.
Poppy, do you want to be on our podcast? Okay, Poppy, I want to interview you. Yeah. I'm going to interview you, Poppy, but you got to speak into the mic. First question, Penelope Hilton. How was school?
It was actually great.
Poppy, what was your favorite part about school today?
Hello? Mr. Pantapoopas? Yeah.
Mister. I call him Mister.
Yeah, because that's
his full name.
Full name, Mr. Pantapoopas.
Who's Mr. Pantapoopas?
Mr. Pantapoopas is the gentleman that lives in my house, and he does.
And his whole name is Mister.
Yeah, you know, his first name is Mister, and his second name is Mr. Pantapoopas.
Yeah. So.
And what doesn't he like?
And he doesn't like
water things. He doesn't like water things, does he? Doesn't like it
but
when.
Mommy likes the sink water things, right, Mom?
Yeah. So Poppy started wanting to make food in the kitchen, so she would make us things called water pancakes, where she would put
like them,
a big bowl of water.
I don't like them really, no.
Big
but
bowl
Mr.
of water, and then like crackers. She'd throw some crackers in there.
I find them everywhere.
And just smash all the water and the crackers together and call them water pancakes and serve them to us. They were so yummy.
They were so sweet,
Yeah,
that was so sweet of you.
And they taste like candy.
They did,
Do they?
But then Mr. Pantapoopas arrived, and he really didn't like it.
Right.
Really didn't like it.
But he needs to try one of my magical candy.
Oh, yeah, he might like that.
Poppy, can you tell us a joke?
Just chicken do for fun.
What?
Go to the chicken park. I always say that.
That's your favorite.
That's your favorite joke.
Tell Daddy a joke.
Why don't seagulls fly over the bay?
I don't know.
Because then they'd be bagels. Oh. Well, guys, thank you all for watching this episode. Yeah. Eye-opening stuff.
Yeah. Interesting.
And if you guys want, subscribe to my Patreon, where all the co-parenting episodes will be, or you can subscribe to Steven's Patreon, where the episodes will also be. And we're doing weekly co-parenting episodes on my Patreon. So make sure to go there, patreon.com/Laura Clary, or
yeah.
Or yours.
Yeah, mine's got others. Mine's got stuff as well, music and stuff in there.
Oh,
and stuff.
nice.
So yeah,
Yeah.
lots of different things.
Yeah. All righty.
Yeah, see you later.
Poppy, can you say, make sure to subscribe and follow for more?
Make sure to subscribe.
Perfect. That was perfect. Good job, Pop.
Don't forget to do your work.
Don't forget to do your work.
It's not funny.
It's not funny.
All right.
Do your work. Do your work.